Before we get into this video, I just wanted to tell you a couple of things. Obviously, this is quite a long video. However, I kept it long because it covers a lot of mistakes that I made, how I fixed them, the jigs that I made to use stuff, and a whole bunch of stuff which may be helpful. So I imagine it's going to be super unhealthy for the channel to have a really long video, but I hope there's value in it for you if there is. I mean, grab a cup of tea and some biscuits and sit down and treat yourself. Thanks very much. Let's get into it. Hey YouTube, thanks very much for joining me. I'm Dean, this is Woodwork Journey, and today we're going to hopefully be building some workshop drawers using a technique that I've not used before, which most of you might go, duh, but really hard for me. So let's see how we get on, because I need to tidy some of this up badly. Okay, so as far as materials go, I've just spent 40 quid on having two sheets. I know they look massive on camera, but they're 8 foot long. And rather than having the 1220 or 4 foot wide, I've had the timber yard just cut them straight down the middle so I could get them in the car. But yeah, so they're 8 foot by 2 foot, 9mm MDF. I know it looks over here like I'm a super posh boy and I've got lots and lots of wood, but there's a lot of wood here that's still got to be used for things like the kitchen renovation and all that sort of stuff that I'm doing. But yeah, I'm sort of reusing a lot of this wood. This was part of the old saw cabinet that I had, and here is kind of a backer board that I've been using. All sorts of crap. I tend to not throw anything away. Bit of a hoarder, but that might come in useful for this project. I'm hoping though that if you do this kind of thing, it'll be stuff that you can use spares or scraps for. I mean, the MDF I think is going to be a fairly self-explanatory why I'm using that, but regarding anything else, you know, yeah, use whatever you want. You can get a free dining table off Marketplace and use that if you want, but yeah, I'm just going to use what I can find and what I've got to make this as cheap as possible. So here we are with what I am hoping to work with. Now, as you can see at the top there, this is Hooked on Wood and Wittworks inspired. I bought the Hooked on Wood plans, but I'm not intelligent enough to make out exactly what's going on there because he's using a whole bench build for his one, and I'm not. But also Wittworks, I spoke to him and his are in Imperial, and I'm not bright enough to use the Imperial measurements, so I wanted to use millimeters, which gave me the chance to figure out this kind of thing. So this is what I've kind of designed, which is basically the same as either of those guys. So you can, I'll leave links to both of their videos down below if you want to, but I've spent some time to try and be as accurate with these as I can with regards to how I'm going to make it. So these pieces and these pieces are all 9mm MDF. Basically the sort of the darker colors are 9mm MDF. And then we've got the white colours, which are the drawers, and they are all MDF bases. Now then, once I'd got my, once I'd got the sizing looking accurate enough, and with Tinkercad here, you can actually kind of get relatively decent. Like I've got 50 wide, I've got 0.9 because I'm using 0.9 or 9mm MDF, 62.5 high. I've got a whole bunch of the information that I need, so I transferred that information across to this Opti cutter. As you can see, what I've got here is I've got the rough one that I did, then I've got the as accurate as possible, and then the unit ply pieces. So what we do with this is you simply enter all of the information that you want, and then this and the size stock you've got, and because I'm using half sheets, then I entered that in and that's what it came out with, and it does include your kerf and all that sort of nonsense as well, so that's great. So what this does is it gives me a cut list that hopefully will work. I've never ever used this before, so we're going to have to see if this works out. But you can see that we've got one of these, we've got two of these, and we've got one of these, and that is all of my plans. We've also got the ply pieces. I've tentatively sent them as ply, but these are what I'll be using the scrap for, and these are mainly for making the drawer sides and the supports for the unit that we'll be making. But you can print these off, and we did print one of them off. Unfortunately, forgot to print the other one off, so I'm going to have to use the computer and hope that I don't kill the computer when we're doing this. Right, that's what I'm doing. let's get into it. You can probably see what's going on here, and that is just a whole bunch of chaos on these two workbenches because I haven't got anywhere to put stuff. So I'm hoping that today's build is going to seriously help with that. Now then, unlike normal, what I'm going to do, rather than just throwing stuff everywhere, which I'm kind of doing at this point, but bear with me, I'm going to try and make sure that I've got at least one just clear space, just this one desk right here, and that'll mean that I can cut all of the pieces, label them, and then I can stack them on here in a way that I can see, rather than throwing them all around the workshop and all that sort of nonsense. Hopefully this will be enough. I would like to have that because at the end of the day, where I've put all this together, this is going to be my assembly table. But like I say, it's just full of rubbish at the minute because stuff needs to go on there. Anyway, let's get cutting. As another woodworker would say, check square to make sure that we are doing what we should be doing. I know you can't probably see my screen, but I know that I've got a load with a 500 width to start with, so I'm going to cut one of my 600s straight down to 500. So I said 625. Now I've got a build actually that I'm going to do to make repeatable cuts super easy, hopefully with the track saw, but obviously I need to be sorted for that. But I've planned something kind of cool out in my head and I don't think anyone else has done it, so we'll do that later down the line. Right, 625 right there. I think I've mentioned it before, but when I was doing a lot of the cutting down for panels for kitchen units, I bought one of these Stealth Mounts Trax 90. So it's just a 90-degree jobby for your track saw. And it was at like 20 quid or something. I'll leave a link to it. I'll leave an affiliate link to Amazon down below. They didn't send it to me. I bought it. Is it perfect? No. But is it good enough? In most cases, yeah. Especially if you've marked out what you look to be cutting. It seems to do a pretty fine job on trying to keep you on track of being square, which is jolly useful. Keep you on track. Sorry. I have just realised that my very first cut might have been a cock-up, because I cut with the waist side bit being the bit that I needed. Oh well, no, 624, so I reckon we can get away with that. But I'm going to have to make sure that I do the same with this one. So this is an outer side. So to repeat the process, we're doing 625, 625. And I'm really hoping that that sort of 1 mil isn't going to be a problem. That's definitely close enough for jazz, that. I'm happy with that. Good-o. Right, so we'll go outer side on here as well. You know, I said earlier on that I was cleaning up this workbench so I could stack everything on it without throwing everything around the workshop. I've cocked that idea up already. Best laid plans and all that sort of nonsense. Right, so we've got the inner sides now, and they are 589. It's quite specific. Going to need the old spectaculars on for that. So 589. Now, hang on. Let's be sensible about this one. Let's use the actual side that we're trying to do rather than the waist side. Right, so 589, isn't it? Yeah, 589. Right, so that's an inner side. And this, according to my measurements, should be 589. It's clearly not, but you know, that's fine. It's definitely 500 though, so that's good. So 589. It's close. 589 is there. This, for jobs like this, when you've got a small workshop, that a track saw really is helpful, because you can't fit everything on a table saw. You just can't. if you're unfamiliar with track saws, when I said at the start I had a bit of a hoo-ha, it's because this is to the right of what you're cutting is the waste side, and when you line your track up, you line it up to the measurement that you want. So this is the bit that you're keeping. The kerf of the blade otherwise eats into this side, you see. So if I measured 600 from the outside to here, when I cut through it, half of the kerf of the blade would actually, well, probably more than half of the kerf of the blade would actually encroach onto that 600. So really, when you're using a track saw, this is the bit that you want to keep, or you use some waste side jigs, which you can 3D print, or go to Strawbite Workshop's YouTube channel, and he's got some that he makes on there. But anyway, carrying on. Okay, so straight off the bat, we have a pickle, because something isn't cricket. 589. 589. Woof! I have cut that one horribly on the piss. Oh, well, that's going to be problematic. At the bottom here, this is 585, and at the top, oh no, it's pretty much 585 there as well. Ah, shit. Well, that's annoying. Measure twice, cut once, my arse. Oof. Right, well, we will see if we can figure it out as the build goes on. But yeah, I mean, I'll show you. I've got 4mm on the outside of this that I shouldn't have. Look. And so I've already cocked up. That's annoying, isn't it? So what I just thought about doing is, if I glue on the piece that I just cut off, I think it was the other bit that I cut it off of, but by putting that on there, I don't think there's going to be too much structural issue with it. So I may as well just give it a go, clamp it on, and then hope that by the time we come round to making it, this is just going to be stable enough to do the trick. Once again, woodworking isn't about never making mistakes. It's about figuring out how to cover up the mistakes that you do inevitably make. But what I'm going to do to give this its best shot, I think, is I'm going to just give that a minute to soak in, and do a similar thing for this side, then do another thing, glue it on, clamp it on, and we'll see how that goes. Okay, right, fingers crossed. We haven't cocked up so much we won't be able to use it. These blue and these two yellow pieces are what's been cut already. The strip that I took off the 600 wide board in the first place, that's along the bottom there, and we've got 60 and 33 when it comes to those pieces there. There are a couple of thinner ones going under there as well, but I don't know what they are. And this grey bit is spare and surplus, I believe. So what I'm going to do is, it looks as though if I rip 60 off that long strip, then that's all the red ones, and that should leave me the 33 left for these, but we'll see how we get on. Oh, we've also got these here, look. This tells us a little bit as well. 500 by 60. Yeah, we've got the light blue inner bottom slides. There we go. Okay, cool, let's get on to it. So I'm not going to bore you with every single cut, but now I need 500 lengths of the wider strip that I just cut on there. And in order to do that, it's going to be fairly straightforward. I could use the miter saw, but it means moving stuff out of the way. So what I'm going to do is just use a either a hand saw or a circular saw, I think. There's the 500. use my sexy new trig jig doohickey, and that's our first one. Job done. How many of these do I need? 4. I'm using the same piece to mark out the length just in case there's any issues with that. That's the first sheet of cuts down. I won't bore you with the rest. Similar sort of process though. That is, without a doubt, the most cuts I have ever done for a project. So that's all the stuff on that screen, but this now is where we're going to go on to the other sections, which are more designed for the support and the drawer sides and all that sort of stuff. And that's where you can use whatever you fancy, really. So I don't know how much of this you can see, but there is a lot of wood here. I've just spent, it was yesterday I did all the MDF and today I've done all the ply. Let me just get the camera and I'll show you about it and also show you that I've not used good ply before anyone starts getting excitable. Right then, so as I said, I had a lot of offcuts of ply because this is stuff that I've been using for making the kitchen and stuff, but you can see that we've got slices out of a load of them. We've got some that are kind of only half height. I don't know if you can. Oh, look at the camera, Dean. There's layers taken off this. That's only a half a layer. That's only half a layer. So there's a lot of this ply that is not in great shape. But you know, this is going to be for workshop drawers. So it's not. You know, it's not. I mean, what's going on there? Look. It's not going to be something that I'm overly fussed about. So obviously I want to try and make it look as nice as possible. But yeah, that was a lot of cutting. And that's a lot of material. So, you know, again, with where I've used ply, if you could use dining tables, you could use anything that you can find for free. It doesn't even have to be 18mm, although my numbers are based on 18mm. So now we've got to figure out if it's going to go together. I'm going to try and make in the main structure first, then I'll worry about putting the drawers together, which is going to be a nightmare of a job. Right, so I've mocked this up. I'll tell you about it in a moment. I was going to be using my Draper pin nailer for this, or brad nailer, but I can't because the minimum that takes is 20mm, and this obviously is 2 lots of 9. So that's rubbish. So I've just gone out and bought more Forge Fix. I'm buying more Forge Fix stuff than I know what to do with. Veneer pins, which are only 15mm long. So that'll hold things together while I'm gluing. Otherwise it's going to take just a hell of a lot of clamps. And while I've got quite a few, I haven't got that many. So what I've done, this is going to be for one of the outside walls, which on the plans, I think this is just in shot, is just on the outside here. And so this has a thicker bottom slide. So this one goes right at the bottom. So I'm going to stick some glue on it and then pop a couple of panel pins in and just make sure that we're all lined up and all that sort of nonsense. And then I can take it from there, because what I've done, and this is what Wittworks did, I can't remember the chap's name, very nice guy though, but he used a spacer, which is a bloody good idea, because then you can just pop your spacer in there, make sure you get the right distance between that, and everyone's a winner. And what I've done is I cut that just out a bit of scrap ply, and that is 10mm all the way around. So yeah, that's going to give me my 10mm spacing. So let's crack into it. Bit annoyed that I've got to physically hammer in a ton of nails, but you know, we'll get there. Just realised I'm being a bit haphazard. We don't really want glue anywhere we don't want glue, if that makes sense. Right, so this one goes right at the bottom, and we get a couple of panel pins to sort them out. Oops, moved already. There we go. Then we pop the spacer on, like so, and then that one goes up to the front of the spacer, and comes all the way down like that. Perfect. Get some glue on it. First row done. So now I've just got to do the rest with all the rest of them. Right then, people, so I've done 2 of these. These have got the largest strip in the plans because these are the outer sides, and so there's a larger strip in the bottom of those. From 2 of those, one of those is attached to these runners at the moment, which are the top and bottom supports. So yeah, that's that done. Then what we've got to do, and I haven't quite figured out the best way of doing this yet, because these are the internal supports, like so, and they have a bit of ply going in there like that. So these are the internal slides, and these have a short piece at the bottom because they sit on top of these runners. Do you know what I mean? So I think what I'm going to do is I am going to put the other end on. Move those around. So we've got one end on here. I'm going to put the other end on here. Then I'm going to install these in the middle. I think I'll probably use pocket screws for that. So far for these, what I've done is I've just screwed 40mm screws through the MDF and into the ply. I pre-drilled first. You don't always have to with Forge Fix, but I've done that purely because because I'm going in essentially the end grain of the ply. I didn't want it to knacker that up. So yeah, so what I'll do is I'll put the top on, and then I'm going to stick these in. Hopefully I've measured things, and then I can put those bad boys directly onto these. Down the bottom here, we've got a sort of a double 9mm, so that's 18mm going on there. But at the top, we have not. And these pieces are all the same length, I believe. So I need to double check those and sort that out. And that is the very not pretty way of I'm going to fix that just by putting a bit of 18mm ply on there, because then I haven't got to do anything for the 9mm on there. So 9mm, 9mm, 18mm, job's a good one. I'm using the 03 adhesive just because it's super quick, super easy to use. That with a bit of the 03 accelerator. Turns out in fact, let me turn the camera around. Turns out I'm an ambassador for these people now, so there'll be information down in the description if you want to check it out. Anyway, right, crack on. Right, so for this centre section, apologies if you're going to get a whole lot of me. So that's 50, sorry, that's 100. So that's 50 right there. And I'll do that again. I'm quite pleased that I planned this to be 100 wide, and it actually is. And that means that these vertical supports, I can get them bang in the middle like so. And that'll give the whole situation a lot more strength. And then, yeah, we can go from there. So I'm going to pocket hole these and get these supports into the unit. So yeah, it looks nice. Right, so that's the centres in. It's feeling relatively stable already, but now these bad boys have got to go in. So this is how the unit is looking. And I don't think that's looking too bad at the moment. Okay, we are all clamped up. There's glue on those inner sides. So that is how I'm leaving it for today. And then hopefully get back to it again tomorrow and finish it off. Okay, we're now on day 3 of the build. I'm in a lot of pain today after doing everything yesterday, but we'll see how we get on. Today is the day we're going to take off all of these clamps, and these I've got, actually, these are all of the drawer bases that I've cut. So the idea is to take off these clamps and see if I've cut them right to fit in there, which means I'm hoping that I've got the spacing right in there. So we'll find out together, because I am not sure. Right, so the moment of truth. These, I'm pretty sure these are square, so these should be okay. No! Oh. Well, that's upsetting. No. Well, what's happened here is everything is too short. Right, so two problems. So I guess this means I won't be releasing the plans. But yeah, two problems. One, the drawers are too short, as we saw, but it's not as bad as it looked a moment ago. And that's because, let me show you, let me twist the camera around. It's because we are not square. So I don't know if you can see it, but there is a gap at the bottom there. So what I'm going to do, rather than using those lengths, which I was going to use to support the back, I've cut this piece of hardwood, just a thin piece of hardwood or MDF, whatever it is, and I'm going to put that on the back. It's not quite tall enough to reach the top of the ply there, but it's not far off. So I'm going to put that in. I'm going to try and rig something to make this square. Then I'm going to attach the board, and hopefully that'll make sure that things are nice and square, and then I can go about adding a small section to the side of each drawer with a little bit of a glue and a pin nail, and that'll hopefully fix things. So wish me luck. I'll come back to you when I know it's a solution or not. Okay, so I am fairly sure that there is a way of fixing this, and this is not the solution, but it seems to be working. I've got a G-clamp on the work table, and then I've got one of the longer clamps that I've got just putting pressure on this bottom corner. And what that means is we now have pretty much, it's very, very close to being square. And I think that's probably going to cut it, I imagine. That is, if anything, it's a little bit over on that side. So clearly I have not cut something accurately. Oh, forgot about the microphone there. And I don't know what that is, but something is not 100% accurate. Maybe it's the spacer that I put in there, because I didn't account for the stuff earlier. That might be it, but I don't know why it's out of square. So anyway, but hopefully once I get the back onto it, that will fix things. Each one of these drawer slides now has a piece added to the side of it, and yeah, is it going to be a point of weakness that's going to cause problems later on? Quite possibly, but only time's going to tell about that. A couple of them, I think where I put the brad nails in, may have expanded a little bit, but everything goes in just some are a little bit snugger than others, and that's fine. So now what I'm going to do is figure out how to make a jig so I can put all of the drawer constructions on the top of these and make sure it's central every single time for each one of these. And I don't know how I'm going to do that yet, but Right, we're going handheld again so I can show you what I've done. So this is the basic jig that I think might work. So I've got two of the lengths here are shorter than two of the lengths there, and that's because the shorter sides are for the sides of the for the sides of the drawers. So my plan is I've drilled and basically just attached these. I've got one at each corner, and it's making everything square as you like. So that's good. I've got to make sure that I don't allow them to tip because these are quite low down in the centre of gravity. I could put another one on the top, but I think I can get away with this. So yeah, so that is perfectly square. Jobs are good and square all round. Happy with that. So I'm hoping that I can just glue and screw these together, and then we'll figure out a way of placing it onto the bottoms. Well, thankfully it seems to be working just fine. So the longer pieces, which are the drawer front and back, I'm trying to find one piece that's kind of not too shabby looking. We'll do that. Then we get the two pieces that are the sides. They go all in like that, and that is going to help us stay nice and square. So bit of glue. Bit of glue. I've really got to sand all of these bits of wood as well on the edges because the blade that cut them didn't do a brilliant job. Can't remember if I used the wood blade for the saw or not, but it's not the fine cross-cutting blade anyway, So they are in there. Now what we have to do is drill a hole, like so. Then I'm countersinking. Then I'm using the Forge Fast, Forge Fix 5x40 screws, and we're just banging those right in there. Right, jig alert again. So what I've done in order to make this happen is I've just stuck two pieces of wood using a couple of dabs of the O3 adhesive. Apparently, I don't know if I said earlier on, but I'm an ambassador for them now, so information in the description. Yeah, so I've just stuck those down with three. They're not holding anything, so that's all good. So I pop the tray in there, like so. And then we get the base. What we're doing is we have to make sure that the side bit that I've stuck on previously is on the side, and then we're lining this up so it's the same on both sides. That's the drawer base. Let's see if it fits. Okay, so we've just got to do it with all the rest of them now. Right, so to get the fronts on the drawers, nothing special going on here. What I'm doing is I'm just putting them in the middle of where we got. I've set my trig jig depth gauge to like 21 or 22, and that gives me the exact middle in there, like so. Then we just get the brad nail, bosh, bosh, and there we have it. Once I know everything's going to be okay, then I can put proper screws in and put handles on. Okay, so we can see that some drawers are in already. There's one missing from that other side there, but I've just got to do a little bit of adaptation for that. This is, sorry if you can hear the pooch bucket in the background. It's not the fit that I was really going for, to be honest, but it's not terrible. Okay, there's something terrible there. I've messed that one up. This is why I didn't screw it straight away, you see. But yes, so that is working, so I'm going to put screws in these now. We'll worry about putting handles on. I might put a bit of wood like in between here to sort of surround things and make it look nice. I could put a bit under here as well. But yeah, not too bad. Right, so now we're getting to that point in the build where I'm fully aware of the fact that it's not perfect. It's not as nice as I'd hoped it was being or going to be, which is a shame. However, it's still going to be useful, and at the end of the day, it is only workshop furniture. So what I'm going to do now, and what I was saying, I'm now at the point where I'm in absolute agony, hence sitting down, and my spine is really screaming at me. But what I'm going to do is take out each one of these drawers. I'm going to put a sort of a little sort of chamfer on the sides of all the runners. I'm going to clean up all of the sort of the cut lines and all that sort of nonsense, and then just give it a brief once over. The veneer on the front of this plywood is really thin, so I've got to be super careful about that. But, you know, I might end up painting it anyway, who knows. I haven't put the screws in yet, but I'll probably do that off camera. So yeah, now it's just about the tidying up and seeing how we get on, really. I'm using Smurdex from I'm using Smurdex sandpaper, the same as I always use. If you want more information on that, look down below. I've got a soft pad on here, but it looks like it's falling off, so that might not last. We'll see how we get on. So I need another soft pad. And so we are done. Now then, everything works and that's all fine and dandy. We're a little bit snug in places, but that's fine. That'll kind of wear itself through. Things work, things do what they should do. Does it look brilliant? No. I think that a coat of paint on it will absolutely help the overall look of it. And then I'll figure out what I'm going to do for the top. Like I said, I am going to stick some wheels on it as well, just because it makes sense when things have got wheels on in your workshop. But the main thing is it's going to do what I need it to do, which is help me organise stuff and kind of get stuff out of the gazebo and into the workshop where I just haven't had the storage up until now. So this is going to help massively with that. I could have made one significantly taller, and who knows, I might do if I can be asked to tweak things. Now then, when it comes to the plans, obviously I'm not going to be giving them away. If for some reason you want wrong plans, then or a cut list or whatever of what I've done, then do let me know and I'll send it out to you. But it's wrong. So the main things that are wrong are the drawers, and that is the drawer bases needed to be wider, and also the sides of the drawers. These needed to be a little bit wider as well, because that would reduce the amount of wiggle side to side we've got, because we've still got a fair bit there, and that stops things running as smoothly as possible. So I might put some candle wax on the runners just to help them. I might indeed put some like poly on them to help sort of toughen things up a little bit, because it is only MDF at the end of the day. But then what I'll do, once I've got the top on it and the wheels on it, I'll probably put a surround on it around the top and the bottom and down the middle there, just to bring everything up front with the drawers. So I'm a bit disappointed, but nonetheless it's workshop furniture and it's going to do what I need it to do, and that's the main thing. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. I know the end result isn't a perfect bit of furniture like every other YouTuber does, but it shows that sort of we're all human and all that sort of stuff. Oh, I tell you one thing that I haven't tried, and this will find out if measurements are really out or they're kind of doable. And this is one of the reasons for doing the drawers the way I have, because we can take that out of there and then we want to pop that in there, And that is one of the reasons we do this kind of drawer situation of everything being the same size, because that way, there we go, it works. You can move them around and put whatever you want wherever you need it. So that's going to be extremely helpful. So yeah, I'm pleased I've done it. Any questions, any comments, anything you would have done differently, please do let me know. Let me know in the comments down below, because we're all learning, and, you know, it could help me, it could help other people that are doing similar sort of things. And it's, you know, it's all a learning experience. We're all on a journey. But that is the drawers, the unit, essentially. Not perfect, but I'm okay with it for what it is, I think. And that's it. So I'll give you a quick update via a short or something when it is proper finished. But yeah, let me know what you think. Thanks very much for joining me, and I'll see you very, very soon. Bye-bye.